Hello and welcome back everyone. This episode's quite a special one for me because if you look behind me, this area of Woodlands is actually the woods next to my parents' house where I grew up. So I spent many hours playing here when I was a kid. So it's also a bit nostalgic for me today. And I realised I've never come here to take woodland photos. I only was really here when I was a kid or playing. So it's really nice to come here with a different perspective. I'm not really expecting to get any great photos today. I'm just coming out to walk and enjoy being back here. We'll see if we get anything. We've got nice rainy conditions. You'll probably only hear a landscaper or a woodland photographer say that they've got nice rainy conditions, but it does like a lot of amazing things for the colours and the atmosphere in the pictures. And just this morning, actually, I just remembered, I saw a little muntjac deer grazing in the garden, which was nice. And I also saw some white bluebells, which I did a little bit of reading on. And it turns out that they're actually a rare mutation and only around 1 in 10,000 of the bluebells take on this white colour. So that was really interesting to find out. But yeah, we're just going to see what happens, have a walk around. I'm just going to enjoy myself, take in the woods. And if we find a nice scene and get some nice photos, that will be a bonus. So let's see what happens. Okay, so I've actually just found this little scene here, which is quite nice. Just move the camera around a bit more so you can see it. I just really like the way that this branch seems to have fallen down. It's carried on growing though. And I like the way it kind of just stretches out to the scene and then it kind of frames around these trees. Oops, sorry about the focus. Frames around these trees over here. So I'm just trying to get I think I'll get a panorama. I'm going to go for a bit more of a widescreen kind of look to it. I'm trying to avoid getting the highlights in up here. So yeah, I think I'll just take a few shots from starting from here and then just going along here to get the entire length of this tree, sort of reaching out into the forest. Got these kind of interesting things over here as well. I think I'll probably just go up to around here. But yeah, I think it's a really nice scene. Obviously got these amazing bluebells as well, but this creates a nice natural frame within a frame of them. Yeah, let's have a look, see what we can get. So I'll show you what I've done in the end of this shot. If I just go over here, we also had this amazing tree here, which is leaning over, and I just like the kind of repeating leaning patterns of this tree with this one. So I just move this around here. So yeah, I'm taking the panorama kind of all the way along here. I've got to also be careful to try and get, I really like the curve of these branches here, but I'm trying to avoid getting the sky in here. I've tried moving around a bit, but this is about the best spot. So it's taking a bit of fiddling around, but I think this is about right. Then I'll just take a few panoramas, taking them around 60mm. Find that usually works really nice in the woodlands, around 60mm. I'll take a few just along here. I don't want to go all the way here, but I'll probably take an extra shot over here just to give me a bit more wiggle room if I want to crop it later. I really like these shapes of these fallen trees too. Just a really great little scene that I've found. But yeah, so I'll just take them all the way from here along and over to here, and I think that can make a really interesting panorama. The rain started getting heavier, which is really good. It's if you can see, I'll just zoom in. It's really saturating the colour on the bark. It's made this lovely texture on the bark, and it's really helping with the greens and the blues. They've become a bit more saturated in the flowers and the leaves, which is amazing. So yeah, I'll take some more shots here in a panorama form, and then we can have a look at those. I've just found another great scene. I don't know if it's deliberately a theme today that I'm going for, kind of reaching out branches. But we've got this great pair of trees here. This is a little bit of a drop here, if you can see, in the woods. And then this one's just leaning all the way out and across here. I don't think I'm going to go as far as this because I want to avoid the highlights again, as always. But I just want to kind of get that feeling of it reaching out and then still create a bit of an extra space over here to give it a bit of breathing room, because I think it'll be quite visually heavy from this side. But yeah, I just really like this kind of stretching out branch. I think it looks amazing. So yeah, I just have to do a lot of kind of micro adjustments to the composition. Sorry about the focus there. To try and yeah, just get everything in without getting too much of the sky in. Okay, let's get shooting. Just as I was shooting, a little caterpillar's landed on me. Look at that. Okay, so I actually think I ended up with some shots I'm really happy with there, which was a bit of a surprise. I wasn't really expecting to get much. But I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go home, I'm going to have some lunch, and then I might pop out later on this evening and try and get some more shots in a slightly different woodland. Again, it's in walking distance from my parents' house. So I'm going to walk out and I'll see what I get. Or if not, I guess I'll join you on Lightroom and we can have a look through the photos and do a little bit of an analysis on them and see what's worked, what hasn't, and what we've learnt. But yeah, it's been really, really enjoyable to be back out in this woods again. So thank you very much for joining me. Okay, I'm back. I did come back out. It's about 6 p.m. So we've now got kind of intermittent cloud and a bit of sun. So I haven't got the rain anymore, so the conditions aren't ideal. But I've come to another woodlands that's near my parents' house, and this is another one I've spent a lot of time in when I was a kid with my friends and my family. So it's really great to be back here again as well. So again, I'm just going to have a little look around and see if I can find any nice compositions. I haven't got too much of a plan in mind, just going to keep an eye out and see what we find. So yeah, hopefully we find something, but if not, it's nice to just be out walking again. Okay, while wandering around, I actually just found this amazing tree. Look at that. It's really gnarled, really interesting looking tree. I don't think this is really the right conditions for this tree, the kind of character it has. I think it would probably need some fog, some rain, just some worse weather really. But it looks too amazing not to get a picture of it. So I'm going to try and find a composition. I'll try and find something that does look really good. I'm not going to be back here again for some time, but I thought I might as well try and get one. And who knows, I might get lucky one day and end up back here with the right conditions, with some fog, with some rain. But yeah, look at it. What an amazing tree. I think I'll try a few different angles, maybe from up there, one from down here, and see if we get something good. But yeah, it's definitely going to be one to come back to. So I've actually come up and around and to the other side of this amazing tree. I think I'm starting to find what looks like a good composition, but I really think it's going to be one I need to come back to in the fog, as I mentioned. But it looks amazing and I'm glad to have found it. But yeah, it's just not the right conditions today and I have to leave tomorrow. So I'm going to have to just accept that I was in the right place at the wrong time. I'll try and get a few shots anyway and we'll see how they look. But yeah, what an amazing tree. Okay, so yeah, as I said, I've come back up over this other side. I think this is quite a cool composition. I like the contrast between this tree and the kind of taller pine trees in the background. I'm just making lots of micro adjustments to try and find the right thing. But as I said, I really think this needs some fog just to get rid of these kind of highlights here, create some more depth. And just the character of the tree, I think very much would suit some fog or some worse weather. But yeah, I'll just try and get an interesting composition now and come back to it maybe one day. I don't know when, but hopefully one day and I'll have the right conditions. I'll just show you what I'm trying to do. There's this tree in here. Again, if we had fog, it would probably be more separated. But I'm trying to make sure it doesn't overlap with this. And I'm trying to maybe get this branch to just go around this sapling over here. So yeah, just lots of little micro adjustments to try and find the right composition. But yeah, let's see what we get. Like I said, something to come back to. Okay, I think this is a perfect time to call it a day today. It's been amazing back being home, seeing my parents and being in the woods near where I grew up again, seeing all the bluebells and just exploring somewhere that feels like home. I think I got some interesting shots, hopefully. But yeah, also I've got to get home because I'm cooking tonight for my parents. I'm going to be cooking them a moussaka, and I should clarify that's the Greek version of the moussaka. The reason I'm clarifying is my girlfriend is Bulgarian. She makes a very big point to let me know that the Greek and Bulgarian versions of moussaka are in fact two very different dishes. So yeah, now you know as well if you didn't know. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I'll probably join you back over in Lightroom where we look at the photos, but that's all from me today for the exploring. So thank you. Okay, so it's been a few weeks since I was back home recording that first part of the video and seeing my parents. And it was really great to see them because I hadn't seen them for quite a long time, and it was nice to spend some time with them. And it was also really interesting to go and explore the local woodlands there with this new perspective, because I've been around there many times as a kid playing, and I've been there for walks with family, but I've never gone there from a kind of woodland photography point of view. So it's almost like discovering that area again for the first time, which was really, really exciting. What I've done is I've loaded up some of the images on the computer, and we can have a look through them together, do a bit of a review on them, see what's worked, what hasn't quite worked, and I think that'll be really useful just to go through those. I'll be honest, I don't think I've got any images that are amazing or have a lot of wow factor, but it was just really enjoyable, the process of going out there and kind of rediscovering that area. So let's have a look through them together now. So I've just got the first image loaded up on the screen now, and that was from that great scene where we had that tree that had maybe fallen over, I think, or had just grown out sideways for whatever reason. It had these long sweeping branches, which was really interesting. So I do quite like this image, and I think there are things that work about it, but I just think it's kind of missing something and hasn't quite got that wow factor. And there's a few things I could probably have improved about it just to kind of make it a bit more pleasing, the composition. But I think what I'll do is I'll go through what I like about it first, and then I think I'll go through what some of the things are that could have improved it. So what I like about the image is I love the character of this tree, and I love the impact it has, and I love these long sweeping out branches. I just think they've got a lot of drama, and they add a lot to the image. It just makes something quite interesting and a bit different. And I really like the space over here. So I shot this as a kind of nice long panorama. I'll put the settings up on the screen there for you because I think those will be useful. And I think over here we've just created this nice breathing room. And in this area we've got the amazing colours of the bluebells, and I really like those. And what I also liked was the fact I was taking this in the rain. It gave this amazing texture on the bark. I'll just zoom in so you can see that a bit more. And it also helped to just saturate all of the colours in the scene, just create these richer greens and these richer blues and purple hues in the flowers. So I really like that. And what I think could have probably been improved about it, and I think would have made it a bit better, was firstly, so these branches here, which I really liked, they reached out a bit further up here, and they had a nice kind of curve and bend that came back through here. But when I tried to get those in, I was getting some of the sky in, and it was nearly impossible to avoid that, and also get the bend in, and it just created a really bad distraction up here in the image. And so I decided just to avoid it based on the conditions I had. But I think maybe if I came back and I had some fog or some mist, or maybe even just some heavier rain, that would have really helped me just to get a bit more of those branches in without the highlight regions up here becoming too distracting. I've also got a little bit of overlap on these trees in the background here, which I think maybe if I'd spent a bit more time adjusting the position of the tripod and things like that, I could have maybe avoided that. But I was also just trying to find the best position for these three branches. So yeah, overall I do quite like the image, but I just think it needed a little bit more fine tuning and maybe some slightly better conditions to make it just perfect. But yeah, it'd be really interesting to see what you think about it, and if you disagree with me and you really like it, or if there's other things you think maybe could have improved it. So I think what we can do is we can move on to the second image now, which was also taken at this scene. Okay, so I've just got the second image loaded up now. And as you can see, it's very similar to the first one I took at this scene, but it's just a bit of a wider panorama. And I'll just put the settings up on the screen there so you can see those. And the reason I took kind of a wider panorama here is because I noticed this tree here that was also leaning over. So I really like the kind of repetition in the shapes of these trees. So they're both leaning over into this scene. And I really like that, and I just wanted to play around with that a bit. I have the same issues with it as I did with the first one, and that's I would have liked to have got a bit more of this tree in and also more of these branches in. But like I said, it was just these bright highlight regions up here made that really, really difficult without creating too much distraction. I really enjoyed just taking this scene though. It was really great because it really felt like a scene that no one else may have taken a photo of before, and that's just one of the things I really love about woodland photos. So This was all about maybe the image taking process, this part, and I know these are probably ones that would need to be revisited in the future, and just need some more adjustments to the compositions. But yeah, I do like this image quite a lot, but I just think it's kind of missing that wow factor. Same with the first one. Again, I'd really like to hear what you think about it, and if you prefer this longer panorama, or if you like the more cropped in one where we just focused on this tree here. So I've just got the third image loaded up now, and that's from the second scene we visited. It's another sweeping panorama with a reaching out branch. I didn't deliberately go for that theme, but it just seems to have naturally happened. I'll just put the settings I used to take it up on the screen for you there. So again, I really like this scene, but I just think it's suffering from some of the same issues as the first one. What I do like is, of course, a big sweeping out branch, and I love the little pop of green colours here, so I really like to add a kind of accent of colour if I can into my woodland images, so this was perfect. And I really like the bluebells. I just think they have a nice feel to them, and I like the kind of slope to the image. I like this triangular slope that we've got down here, and I like the continuation of the bluebells off into the kind of background over here. I think that's nice, adds a bit of depth and a bit of interest to the image. But yeah, like I said, it does suffer from some of the same issues. So my biggest issue with this one is the overlap here between this big tree and our main subject, this main sweeping branch. And I think it just becomes a bit messy and a bit distracting over here. And I think that's just something to really watch out for in your woodland images. It's really easy to get this overlap, and it kind of just ruins the flow of this image. And I think, yeah, again, maybe if we'd had some fog or some heavier rain or just something to help separate it out and kind of wash out the background a bit more, and then we'd just have better focus on our main branch. That would have really helped. And again, we had some really bright highlight sky regions up here, which I've deliberately not included in there because I think they were just distracting. But for example, this branch was sort of sweeping out and it followed this branch around as well. And I would have liked to have got that in, but it would have been at the cost of having these sort of really blown highlights up here. So I decided not to include that, but I think that would have actually improved it quite a lot if we had also had that. But yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed the image taking process again, and it was just really great to be out, and I really enjoyed that kind of finding those sweeping, creeping out branches. So I did really enjoy it, but I just think, yeah, the composition itself in the image could be improved a bit. So let's move on to the next scene now, which was later on in the day. So these final images, I very much just see these more as scouting or reference images, and it's a scene I'd really like to come back to if I had more favourable conditions. So I just like to kind of try and find a basic starting point for when I do revisit it, so kind of just trying to find a basic composition and just mark down that location, and I know it's one I want to revisit in the future, and then when I get there I'll kind of know good spots to kind of start from. And I think I'd just come back when I have more favourable conditions. And for this scene, more favourable conditions I think would definitely be fog. This tree was amazing, it just had so much character, it was all gnarled, it had these twisted, slightly spooky branches, and fog just would have been perfect complement for that kind of character the tree had. But anyway, I still think it's really useful to do these these kind of scouting missions and try and find these compositions first. And I actually think that I'm more often than not, when I go out to do woodland images, I am taking what I'd call reference images and I'm just noting them down. And I know they're ones I'd like to revisit and maybe make adjustments to the compositions or just wait for those perfect conditions. So yeah, it's just as important to go out and find these scouting images like these ones, even though they're not kind of final images and they do need a lot of work. So the things to watch out for, I've got quite a bit of overlap on both the images, on the trees, and I think I just could have made some more adjustments. But I was in a little bit of a rush to get back home because I was making dinner that evening. So I couldn't quite spend as much time as I normally would have. But I still think they're nice starting points, and they've helped me to kind of rule out other areas that I know which I tried. So it was really useful to get these scouting images. But as I said, they're very much sort of just like a starting place or a draft. And I'll definitely revisit this if I ever get the chance and I have fog. I'll be right out the door to head back to this scene with this amazing tree. So I really hope you found that image review useful. Like I explained, that one was a bit of a nostalgic one for me, and it was more enjoyable about the image taking process rather than the final result. I think a lot of the scenes would probably benefit a lot from kind of revisiting them and perfecting the compositions, and also hopefully having more ideal conditions, so maybe some fog or some slightly heavier rain, just to separate out the elements a bit and create a bit more atmosphere in the shots. But it's something to look forward to and something to revisit when I'm next back in that area. If you have found this video useful, I'd ask if you could hit the like, the subscribe and the notification bell, because I'll have a lot more videos coming soon. So thank you so much again for watching, and I'll join you next time.